first thing you'll do when the quarantine is over?
Or when you feel like it's over?
First thing I want to do, I mean, just honestly, the first thing I think I'm going to run up to the first person I see and hug them.
I'm one of those people that I'm not going to run out the door.
That's really what I want to do. I want to hug somebody.
Plan a trip to the Caribbean for my children, my husband and I.
If possible, go and see New York.
We don't have to go to a fancy place. We just have to go in a place where we can enjoy nature and relax and, start over.
This program has been so intense, and I was kind of leaving it all for the last moment. And so I went to the Met in the first weeks that I was here. I haven't been to the MoMA.
I want to go to the beach.
I went into Central Park once. I wanted to see a couple of productions on Broadway.
I want to go play at the lakefront.
I haven't done that, So there are just a number of little things that I want to do.
And bike ride.
I was going to say, if the weather's nice and the pools are open, I'm going swimming.
And jump in the beach water.
Baseball game, or go to a DC United game. I've got tickets to a lot of these things. And
if it's summertime at that point in Chicago.
And I'd love to do those.
I want to hang out with my girlfriends and go get drinks and have brunch.
It's a lot of my hairdresser too.
Just returning to some sense of community gathering will probably be what it is for me. It might take the shape of music for me as well. It might be a music event.
I also want to hopefully be ordained sometime soon,
or like a caipirinha at night. Like, I just want to go out and have dinner somewhere and go dancing.
Most of all, yes, I want to get a great coffee. I want to go for a good walk, and I want to give someone a big hug.
But I might try to go home.
And my family, of course, our other son is here, and the daughter-in-law, of course, we want to see them.
The first thing I will do is probably go see my dad. He's in Fairfax.
No, I love to go to Brazil, but I don't know if I could go to see my mother so soon because the flights are not so connected.
And he's getting on, and he's in that sort of risk category, and it's just been tough not being able to see him. We sneak by in the middle of the night. We leave a little care package on his doorstep, and then we leave without knocking on the door because he's freaked out about, he doesn't want to get us sick, and he doesn't want us to get him sick.
I want to have a barbecue, and I want my family to come over.
I think probably the very first thing that we're going to do is get together, and, do the potlucks that we used to do, go see my mom. So obviously it's going to be just family, just seeing the people that we were apart from during this time, and just really just not taking that for granted anymore.
I want to have a barbecue, and I want all my friends to come over.
Because I probably have been taking it for granted because it's always been there, and it always will be there. But it's already been a month, and who knows how much longer this is going to go on. So when I feel safe that this whole thing is over, I think the first thing we'll do is just get together with family and just, just appreciate and love all those times.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be something like that. Having a hug party kind of a thing with people that I know. I was going to say go to the ice cream parlor too, because that would be kind of fun.
Get ice cream from an ice cream shop, and then go home.
I'm not a big ice cream fan either. It's just like,
I probably won't feel comfortable to do those kinds of things quite yet. When the doors open, I feel like we also will have to be very careful for a while, unless testing suddenly appears in really coordinated and incredible ways where we can get tested a lot, not just once, but that you could revisit the testing center every month or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, unless we suddenly become like South Korea, where they're running a tight ship, they're organized, unless we turn into that really quickly, I don't feel like any of us can feel super safe in sharing sneezes at the grocery store, right? Like, it's like the new normal will not be normal.
But I think everyday life back to normal too. No, I don't have big expectations.
New normal is something we use in the kind of work I have all the time. It is hard. It's very hard to accept new normal. The word is a lot nicer what the reality is. Like the word new normal, oh, new normal. But inside that means it has a connotation that it's deeply altered what you perceived as normal and what makes you happy now. But I have seen so much in my work, people that very small new things they didn't know before become so meaningful that the new normal becomes easier to accept because they hadn't thought that way before. You end up becoming more resourceful and appreciating things in different lights. I think what I would say is that learn from science very early, pay attention what works and what doesn't. But above all, listen to what they say, do the recommendations as much as you can, but above all, don't let that change how you would live your life. Like, try to do the changes you have to change, but then maintain some normalcy, because for your mental health, you can't let that cause alarm and panic inside of you. And it's hard to do that. We have to exercise, and I do too. I have fear sometimes, and then I have to think of ways that, what can I do? Which power I have, and use whatever little power I have to get through it, and don't let this whole process interfere with every aspect of my life.
So see and hear, mostly from social media, but also from a couple of personal conversations I've had with people who think this is a hoax. And yikes, tell that to, it's just to use New York City as an example, tell that to all those people who work in the hospitals and have 85 freezer trucks to hold, those who have passed. Tell that to any of the millions of people who have filed for unemployment and could continue to do so on a weekly basis. Tell that to people who were already really treading a thin line, and this just pushes them over the edge, financially, physically, spiritually, mentally. I don't know how people see any portion of the news, like not necessarily that you watch it every day all day, but how you could hear any of these numbers, not just in this country, but around the world, and think this is not for real. This video is a time capsule. What would you leave behind here?
The only thing I would say around this moment in time, living through a pandemic, is that like the artist in me is really hopeful that we would find really beautiful, creative ways to help support the shift in mindset that has to happen in this country to recognize each other's humanity. That we would take this opportunity of recognizing that essential workers are the low-wage workers of America, and that they would no longer continue to be the low-wage workers, that we would take this shift and realize that no one is low-wage, that everyone should get to deserve a living wage, and then we could do that in beautiful artistic ways to ignite the masses, and that we would somehow be able to inspire people to get involved civically, to vote, to care who the elected officials are, to care that one person is making $500 billion a year. Like that we would all care, not because we want to knock him off the totem pole and stand in his spot, but that we realize that the rest of us, everyone deserves to have a home to live in, to live debt free, to be able to, go to school and graduate and go on in life without carrying a $250,000 debt from college. Like we would just awaken in a different way. And I think the arts could help us to do that. And I hope and pray that for the future of our country and our children, that for the future of this world, that we would make it more sustainable for everyone. Those are the lessons I hope that we get out of this pandemic. No problem. This video was a time capsule. What would you leave behind here?
I keep referencing my class. It's just because they're so sweet and they have such great things to share. And I feel really lucky, in my position. That we're at home, we have food, I have access to Instacart, Amazon Fresh. Like I'm able to keep my family at home. It's hard for my students' family to do the same thing. I had a student at our Friday meeting, and he was asking, "Oh, Miss Toledo, my mom wants to know, can we go to El Tillon? El Tillon is the name of my school. Can we go to school and get my lunch and my breakfast there?" And that's not something that I need to consider for my own family, but it's something that my students, they are from National City. It's there's a lot of families. So I think of it through my students' families, that they have other things to worry about that I don't necessarily have to worry about. And, that's a lot, and, when the student is asking me for their mom, I know that this is a need that they have. And, and luckily there are schools that, I was able to let all the parents know that, where they can get their child's breakfast and their lunch every day. So there are schools out there that are feeding them. But, this is affecting families in so many different ways. A lot of my kids' parents, they don't have the luxury that I do to stay at home and work from home. They have to continue to go out there, even if they're working at In-N-Out, they still have to go to work and potentially risk, getting infected and coming home and infecting, grandma, grandpa, and even the kids. So that's just, that's kind of a reality that I have to think about, especially when I start feeling down on myself, oh my goodness, what can I do for my students? How can I help their families? How can I make them feel okay? If this video is in a time capsule, what would you leave behind here?
No, I don't know if I have anything else to add. I think the most important thing is always to think, it's silly, it sounds very simple to say, but simplicity has a value, and the value in the simplicity is to just have a goal, look what you wanted to achieve, and what we all want to achieve is normalcy for everybody, and try to weed everything else out. It's hard for me because I tend to be a little political, but weed the politics out, listen what the directors of the colleges are saying, and try later to put it all back into your life, and don't let this change too much the way or things that we wanted to accomplish, but above all, we have to accept that it will change, and just being all upset, and it's not going to take us anywhere. We just have to keep a cool mind and say, okay, I cannot do this, but I can do that, and then carry on. I know what I want to say, I'm just not finding the words. The crises such as this one show how resilient we are, and we can learn through these times how resilient we are, and take those as lessons for our lives. If we can keep ourselves in check, we can keep ourselves to doing the right thing scientifically in terms of being, following all the guidelines that we are giving correctly, and get through this. It shows us that we have a lot of strength and a lot of intelligence to be smarter than things that are risks to our lives, and then carry on in other moments of your life. This is probably as challenging as many of us, even in my lifetime. I know by history other moments that were difficult, but not in my lifetime. This is one of the hardest in terms of, like so many modifications to life.